Hi, Senator. I'm Danny Bowder from Hazleton, Pennsylvania. And you've taken some flack from your opponent about the issue of whether or not your health care proposal is truly universal. And I'm not entirely sure how that all works. I was wondering if you could explain to us why your health care proposal is the best for America. Thank you.
That's a great question. Here's first of all my plan. I described it briefly earlier. I'll describe it in more detail now. What I basically do is to set up a government plan that's similar to the plan I have as a member of Congress, which means that you will be able to still choose your doctor. Anybody will be able to join into this plan, but you are not obligated to join this plan. You can keep the health insurance that you've got if you're happy with it. And we will create then this big pool, just like the federal employees have. And that means then you can negotiate with the insurance companies, the drug companies, the providers to get better deals. And that makes it more affordable. Now, some people still won't be able to afford it, and we will subsidize them. And we'll give them generous enough subsidies that there will not be anybody who wants health insurance who can't get health insurance. There won't be anybody out there, and even Senator Clinton's own experts have indicated that that's the fact, that under my plan, if you want health insurance, there will be nobody that can't get it. All right? So we also will spend a lot of time emphasizing prevention, so that instead of having a disease care system, we have an actual health care system. That means we want to encourage more primary care doctors. We want to encourage regular checkups. We want to decrease obesity and improve nutrition and incentivize wellness programs. We want to use information technologies to reduce bureaucracy, cut paperwork, improve quality, and cut medical errors. All these things, we estimate we could save about $100 to $150 billion in the healthcare system every year, which is what helps us subsidize people who don't have care. Now, if you already have care, if you like your insurance, but the only thing you don't like about it is it's getting really expensive because the premiums are going up because your employer's seeing their costs go up. We're going to work with the employers to set up what's called a catastrophic reinsurance plan. A lot of the spike in premiums that occurs for an employer happens because maybe just one employee gets leukemia, or one employee has a premature baby, and that costs $1 million, and that drives everybody's premiums up. But if we have a catastrophic reinsurance program with the government, that insulates the employer from some of the increased costs. And that will reduce premiums, we estimate, by as much as $2,500 per year per family. Now, let me say this, I'll be honest with you. Senator Clinton's plan is very similar to mine. There's really not that much difference. The primary difference she's been emphasizing has to do with something called mandates. She, under her plan, although she hasn't really given details about how it will work, her mandate is basically that's not a mandate that everybody gets health insurance. It's a mandate that all of you have to buy health insurance. It's not a mandate the government provides it to you. Rather, it's a mandate that you get it. The government will force you to buy health insurance. Now, the problem with that is, if you are mandated to buy health insurance, but it's still not affordable, then you're actually worse off than you were. Because now, the only way to enforce a mandate is to have a really tough fine. Boy, because you're not going to throw people in jail for not having health insurance. But you would have to fine them a lot of money. And if people are just barely getting by, they might decide to go without health insurance, pay the fine, unless the fine is the same as the cost of the health insurance. Right? In which case, now what if they can't pay the rent? My attitude is the reason people don't have health insurance is not because nobody's forced them to buy it. It's not because they don't want it. It's because they can't afford it. So if we focus on reducing costs, then everybody who wants health insurance will be able to get it. And I think everybody wants health insurance. Now, there's one other difference between Senator Clinton and myself, and this has more to do with how you bring it about. See, Every 4 years somebody talks to you about getting health insurance, how they're going to improve the healthcare system, right? Every 4 years. And it never happens. Why? Well, like I said before, it's drug insurance companies, HMOs, they've got a lock on the debate in Washington. And I admire Senator Clinton's efforts back in '93, along with President Clinton, to reform the healthcare system, but they did it in the wrong way because they went behind closed doors. And they wouldn't talk to anybody or explain to the American people what they were going to do. They didn't even invite Democratic members of Congress into the debate. So, in the meantime, all the lobbyists, they got all Congress turned against the Clinton plan. They started running advertisements making the American people scared of the Clinton plan. And by the time the Clintons actually announced the plan, it was dead on arrival. So instead of being secretive, I want to be open. We're going to have a big table. And we'll invite everybody to the table. Hospital administrators, doctors, nurses, employers, labor, patients advocates. We'll have insurance companies, drug companies. They'll get a seat at the table. They just won't be able to buy every chair. And I will have a seat at the table. I'll have the biggest chair because I'll be president. I think it's the best plan. But if you have good ideas, Republicans, Democrats, I don't care who it is. If you have a good idea, a better idea than me, I'm happy to adopt it. But here's the catch. All of these negotiations will take place on C-SPAN. So what happens then is, if some member of Congress who's carrying the water of the drug companies says, well, hold on a second, you can't negotiate for the cheapest available price on drugs because drug companies need all these big profits to reinvest in research and development. Well, I'll say, okay, that's your view. Let me bring my healthcare expert. And on TV, the expert can explain to the American people that, well, you know, drug companies need some profits, but what they call research and development a lot of times is just marketing costs for those TV ads where everybody's running in fields, looking happy, you don't know what the drug is for. Except for that one drug, you know what that's for. You like that one? The point is that by doing it publicly, you're enlisting the American people to hold Congress accountable, to hold the president accountable, and that's how we're going to get healthcare reform done. That's why it's so important. That's why when I talk about these things, I don't just talk about 10-point plans. There's a difference between Senator Clinton and myself. Now, she's a smart lady, and she's a dedicated public servant, but she thinks that Washington works the way it should, except that it's Republicans instead of Democrats. And my attitude is that unless you got transparency and accountability and